Hey, good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, good day, whatever the heck you're doing, wherever you are. I'm delighted that you decided to spend some time with me today. Hey, so today I got a question for you. Is it important to sell mindfully? And how important is that in the beginning of the year? Well, I think you know that the answer to that is yes, or I wouldn't have asked that question, Captain Rhetorical here. But how the heck do we do that? How do we make sure that our year is as mindful as possible, that we achieve the right goals, that we do the right things, that we are aligned with our mission, vision, values, purpose, and we kick the snot out of our quota while serving our clients? Well, today, I am delighted that I get to bring on two of my favorite people, the authors of the book, Mindful Selling. Sell more, stress less, 52 tips, become a mindful sales professional, not just a sales professional, but a mindful sales professional, Holly Duckworth and Eric Szymanski. So Holly is a keynote speaker. She's an applied mindful leadership advisor. She's contributed to the New York Times. She's the producer and host of the Everyday Mindfulness Show and a columnist to so many industry publications. If I started to read them, there'd be too many and you get bored. So I won't do that. But also her co-author, though, is this award-winning American hospitality industry professional with lots and lots of sales and marketing and leadership experience. He's worked for Disney. He's kicked some butt over all sorts of stuff. And he got the top individual sales award in his convention sales division in 2018. Now get this, in 2002, like ancient history, but he's been selling a long time, so he's got the background. He's recognized as Caterer of the Year by the Atlanta, Florida chapter of the National Association of Caterer Executives. He's an avid runner, a music performer, and the father of twin daughters who just entered college. So I'm excited to bring them to you today and to share my friends with you and to talk about mindful selling, how we can sell more and stress less 2020. So what's up, friends? How are you?
Hello, Captain Obvious. It's so great to see you.
Great to see the both of you too. It's great to be here. So Eric, I got to ask you, man, as a longtime sales professional, when did you come over to the dark side of mindfulness?
Oh, it really, truly all began with Holly, and a year and a half ago, a conversation that we had. I was selling and achieving this peak performance, but absolutely stressing out. I knew that when you achieve your high goals, the next year you have to achieve more, and I wasn't sure how to do it. There was a lot of personal anxiety and stress going on. Well, I called my friend Holly, and before you know it, she introduced the concept of mindfulness to me. And before I was hooked immediately. It was amazing.
Wow. So Duckworth, what'd you tell him? I mean, did you give him some candy, or was there some juju beads, or how's this work? What the heck is mindfulness? Why do we need it?
Well, Phil, mindfulness, as you know, is, I call it new thought, ancient wisdom. So it's the practice of being present in the moment without judgment. And unfortunately, as human beings, we're all hardwired for judgment. So I gave Eric, links to my book and my podcast to help him slow down and center, focus, if you will, on his highest value, which is serving his clients with the great products and services that he has. And so I gave him, 10 or 15 minutes, little activities he could do, maybe a meditation in the morning, and then little activities throughout the day that would invite him to be fully present, first for himself, because we have to take care of ourselves, and then to take care of his clients. Hello, Charmaine. Great to see you on the show.
Hey. So keep going, Holly.
So that's mindfulness. That's what I gave him. I said, we're at 7 strategies to be mindful. So things like visioning, meditations, affirmations, setting an intention, giving gratitude for the work that we get to do. And, Eric had jobs in some of the sexiest organizations. Who wouldn't want to work for Hilton or Disney? That just taking a moment to be in gratitude right now that you have a job. And all of those things kind of stopped him in his tracks and gave him the opportunity to say, Holly, you're right. And then really shifted his mindset each and every day to do the best we can. I think sometimes as sales professionals, the more I work with them, I see we get so focused on these big goals, we forget the power of the present moment. And that's really, truly where the power is.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's really important. I'm out here in San Rancho Bernardo this week training sales professionals too. And the big thing is, focus on the now, what you can control, prioritize your day so that you're doing this right, and then prepare and practice so you can produce and perfect. It's pretty simple. And yet we often miss that. So you went through that list really fast of different practices. So let's start with one of those, Holly. Let's break down gratitude. And then Eric, I want you to tell me how you actually are using that as you sell, because you're still a sales professional. You're not just training, you're also a sales professional. So Holly, go ahead. What is gratitude? How do we get that practice started?
Well, this is an exciting one because it's one that all of us can do, and yet sometimes we say we're just too busy to do the gratitude piece. And we're talking here at the beginning of the year, and I write one handwritten thank you note every single day. And Holly, it takes so long. Does it have to be handwritten? Find the language that works for you. And it's not just about saying you're grateful, but it's actually more important to feel it in your brain, in your heart, and in your body, and really align that gratitude for the product or the service you sell, the person that's in front of you. Maybe some days it's just thank you for the lead that came in. Thank you for that conversation that we can have. So, gratitude practice, and any really of these 7 mindfulness practices, while there's a core to each one, they also get to be personalized to you. So some of our coaching and consulting clients, they take gratitude and they use it on LinkedIn. And they may post gratitude for our book, or they'll post gratitude for an article they read that inspired them. Others may use Facebook if that's your medium. But that's really the key, is not just typing the words and doing it as a checkoff box, but really taking a moment to be fully present and feel grateful that you get to do work you love in places that you love with people you love. Eric, how did you activate gratitude?
So gratitude in sales, it's funny, as sales professionals, we're very selfish and we want to be thanked for the effort we put forth and the work that we do. I've spent days, hours, weeks, or months preparing for client meetings. And when I was done, one of the most important things that helped me understand what a mindful sales professional would do was I would expect to be thanked for all of that hard work that I did. And the mindful sales professional actually thanks the customer and the client for participating and being in a sales experience. It's really a flip for me. It was definitely an awakening for me to even consider thanking someone for experiencing my sales process. And if you consistently think, what is in your head? This person's never going to buy from me. I can't believe I spent all of this time and they're not reacting in the way that I wanted them to react. If you could just put all of that aside and be genuinely grateful for your customer's presence in your sales experience, it just changes your outlook. It lowers your stress. It reduces that anxiety that you have as a sales professional. And it helps you focus on what is important, the customer, and what they need, the solutions that you can bring to the table so that they want to buy your product or service.
Phil, what we do is we match up the 7 steps of mindful selling with the 7 mindfulness practices. So as your viewers are thinking about how they're going to approach this sales year, I want them to recognize that we're not adding more things to your to-do list, but we're integrating mindfulness practices into the work you're already doing. So mindful gratitude is linked up to the natural sales process of follow-up, that a great mindful sales professional doesn't see their sales as a start and an end point, but really truly an ongoing circle of data, connection, and relationships. So gratitude is that natural follow-up step. Hey, did you enjoy our product or service? Did that work for you? How did it work for you? Is there anyone else that you know that could use our product or service? So that's one part of gratitude too, is it doesn't have to be just about thank you notes, but it's just truly about that deepening of the relationship through a follow-up process.
Awesome. I think that's important, right? Because Eric, I know a lot of times when we're in sales, we check in and we follow up and we want to see how things are, right? And that's completely useless. There's absolutely no value there. So it sounds to me like being more mindful, being more intentional about our gratitude and our thankfulness, that we say thank you, actually can help us add more value to that customer to help them realize what they're seeing, probably making it less sticky and less buyer's remorse. Is that some of the results you've seen as well?
I mean, the results do speak for themselves. Even if you don't believe it, sometimes as sales professionals, if you follow the right process, and you do have a genuine intent to do good, provide that solution, not just let's close, let's get the sale, let's sign the contract. I don't really care about you. I genuinely just want this for me. There's a sales incentive for me. If you don't buy, I can't make my payment. I mean, there's been so many different things that I've been told over the years as a individual sales contributor, as a sales leader, as a leader of other sales professionals, that if you don't deliver the goods, people aren't going to have hours to work. You're not going to have something. It really does sometimes affect you, and whether you realize it or not, having something to hold on to, having that, and I don't even just think thank you, just a genuine gratitude for the experience of having a customer that you know you would fit well with. And here's the best part, even for those customers or potential customers who you are like, I'm never going to do business with you, try not to act in that moment, because as we all know, things change, circumstances change. That person who's not buying from you today could be buying from you in the future. They do a transition to a different role, a different company, a different state in their life. And you want them to remember your sales experience so that when the time is right, they're going to come back to you. But in the moment, if you stay focused on just being present with your customer, not focused on, oh my God, I have 152 emails that just came in this last hour. Why am I even sitting in front of this person? They're wasting my time. All of those things that can get into your brain, if you start with that negativity, your results are going to go down. So we introduced the concept of being present in the moment with your customer, believing in the process. First and foremost, for those who've been selling for a very long time, or for those who are brand new to sales, the mindful sales process, it originates with a bona fide process. People don't even know that there is a 7-step process of professional sales. We took that tried and true model that I was taught over 20 years ago and layered in how to stay sane during that time. This is where mindfulness comes in.
Wow. So this isn't just some woo-woo new age stuff, right? This is based in fact. This is based in what actually is working. We just layer mindfulness on the top. And I think I love the first step that you talk about, because we talked about that gratitude and follow-up, but let's start at the beginning here with intention, right? What the intention is for the call, right? For the outcome, for that. So Holly, how do we set that intention in the best way we can?
Well, so one of the things that I want to make sure that we offer your listeners is, I know you've had the website going down the front there, mindfulsalestraining.com. We have a complimentary, we call it the Mindful Sales mini poster. And so that's certainly a free giveaway. If your listeners want to go there, they can see all 7 steps. It's a complimentary gift from us, the Mindful Sales mini poster. And that first step is really setting an intention. And that's taking that 5 seconds to really think about, how do you want to put your energy in motion? And it's each day or with each client interaction that we get so much do. We're forgetting that the power as human beings is we are human beings. We're not human doings. And so setting that intention with each day or each client can just be a pause and a refresh to say, my intention today is prosperity. And that's prosperity for me. It's prosperity for my clients. Maybe your intention for that day is joy. Thinking about who are you being while you are selling, and reminding yourself of that commitment to be joy, be prosperous throughout each and every sales interaction, each and every day. And honestly, it's one word. If you do no other steps of the sales process or the mindful sales process, if you only set your intention and continuously circle back to that intention, you'll be a stronger, more easeful and stress-free sales professional.
Excellent. So less stress as we start the year, right? We hit the year running January 1. Most sales professionals hit the reset button, right? They go back to zero. They have zero quota attainment. They have to go and get it every single day. So Eric, if we're going to do this, if we're going to go and get it every day, and we start with that intention, talk to me about the very next step and how you're using that even today as you're going out and selling? Because I know that you're going to go kick some butt today and crush some quota. So how do you be more mindful and not just think of yourself as a quota killer?
Well, it is Tuesday, and we do sell every day of the week. I mean, ultimately, we're all part of the sales process in every organization. But I'll give you a perfect example of how we layer intention into the sales process. I spoke with a person earlier this year. Last year, it's already 2020. Spoke with someone earlier in 2019 and met with them in the morning. And in the afternoon, they had a contract review with a customer. Their contract's probably about 20 pages of legalese. And the statement from the sales professional that met with me was, "Oh, this is going to be awful. I hate contract negotiations, especially contract negotiations with this customer." And instantly, I thought of Holly and the mindful process and practices that she taught me. And one of the key lines she said to me early on when we met and I was stressing was, "Does it have to be that way?" I told her a very similar story. I knew I was going into a contract negotiation that was going to be stressful from my perspective. And I led with, "Oh, it's going to be so awful." And Holly said, "Does it have to be that way?" And I said, no one's ever asked me that before. In many sales communities and my sales offices that I've worked in, there's kind of this assumed pain point called legal and contract negotiation. So there started this snowball down the hill of, the bigger the contract and the more the legal conversations you were going to have, the more stressful and awful it was going to be. And we'd all have conversations over the coffee, water cooler or over a cup of coffee with, I'm preparing myself for this stressful experience. Well, my comment back to that sales professional, and if you go back to intention setting, just before you even get on the phone, is to say, this is going to be an easy process. This contract negotiation is going to be pleasant. And it just changes your outlook. It relieves that pressure. You can breathe out that stress. And before you even get on the phone with that customer, get into that discussion in the meeting in person, you've set the intention that this is going to be a positive experience. And guess what? This isn't pie in the sky. We understand that stress exists. We understand that there are going to be some maybe healthy discussions or conflict throughout a negotiation. But if you start focusing on the inside, on what you can control, this changes the experience for you. It changes the experience for your customer. It changes the experience and provides a better experience for everyone. And where we're going with this mindful sales concept, and I can't wait for you to ask Holly how she found the sales process, because you asked me how I find mindfulness. But in this case, we really want you to experience the best results you've ever experienced as a sales professional. We're not asking you to do less and to sell less. We're asking you to stress less and sell more. And by stressing less, putting these practices into place, starting at the beginning, you have to start somewhere. The beginning is with that intention. And if you can just start with, I'm not going to be stressed out, this negotiation is going to go well. It may or may not, but at least you can walk in the door with an intention of ease and joy or something.
So the question Phil asked you is, what are you going to do today? What's your intention? What are you starting with?
Well, it's funny that, thank you, Holly. Bringing the intention of overwhelm would not be a good idea. And it is the first, what I call working week of the year, and Monday did not disappoint. Yesterday was extraordinarily busy. Everyone that I've been calling for the past few weeks decided to respond. And now everyone's freaking out and wondering how the year is going to begin. So I'm starting my Tuesday with that deep breath of accomplishment. Today, we're going to accomplish and control a clean inbox, and we're visualizing having all of our responses to the requests that have come in, and it will be a positive day.
Cool. Thanks, Holly, because that was my next question, right? I was going to bring you back. So that's great. So Eric, you've got that, right? We set the intention of all of that. And I'm going to get back to the sales process in a minute, Holly. But Eric, what happens when things go sideways, man? I mean, come on, dude. We're in sales, bro. This is not that easy. I can't just, say and here we go, baby. Let's go, right? That's not how this works. So tell me, how does that really work when everything goes sideways and cattywampus and whatever you want to say it?
It's funny you talk about that. I mean, for me and for the mindful sales process and a mindful sales professional, this is what we're trying to create here. The word professional is key. So first and foremost, when things don't go, you said sideways, I'm going to say, maybe as you anticipated. We do want to anticipate positive outcomes throughout the sales process, and we do want to anticipate maybe some negative, or I don't want to say bad experiences, but things that didn't go as planned. By following the 7 steps of professional sales, layering your mindfulness practice in, you go back to your process. Start with some relationship building with the client after your intention, and then you always go to qualification. And when you're in the qualification step, start asking questions, see where the disconnect is, and bridge the gap. But by following the process, you don't necessarily have to go through the steps 1 through 7, but I would highly recommend, if things are going south, chances are you're probably focused a little bit too much on me. You're focused on closing. I want the business. Are you going to sign? Because I got to go back to all that busyness. Take a deep breath. Let's go back to the beginning, or remember our intention. Do a little relationship building, or the sales process starts with meet and greet. A little bit of 2 to 3 minutes of just, how are you? What is going on? And don't be afraid to ask that difficult question. It sounds like this isn't going the way you planned. I know we're trying to work through a solution here. Can you tell me more? Start asking the client questions and see where that disconnect is. The more information your customer gives you, that's definitely going to help set the tone for a positive resolution in the end. And guess what? Positive resolution doesn't always mean signing the contract with you. It could be with your competition or somebody else if it's not the right fit. And be grateful for that time when it goes well, and be grateful for the time when it doesn't go well. But when things do go sideways, as you said, take a step back, stop selling, go to a more relationship build and a qualification.
Good suggestion. I like that, right? That slows us down, recenters us, and it gets us moving, and still in a revenue producing way. We're doing the right things. I think we just recenter our brain and our intent and our heart often, instead of just engaging our brain and our wallet. So I think that's really strong, Eric.
Yeah, and Phil, deal sizes, throughout my career, I've sold $5 products, I've sold $1 million products, and I've had success along the way. It's the same process. It really doesn't matter if you're in, food and beverage sales or large legal acquisitions or mergers, or, this process is universal no matter what industry you're in. My success came through the hospitality industry initially. It, came from a long, arduous process of training, and I saw a lot of different styles of how to do this. This book and this collaboration with Holly took the best of the best and put it into an easy-to-use guide so that you can do it. And this, if you just take this out every day, it's a quick read. It'll help you focus on what you need to focus on to improve your results.
Awesome. Love that. I think that, that's important, right? So I read early copies of the book. I've actually bought the book twice. I have the first copy of the book that was in print. So I love you guys and support all you're working on. But Holly, you're not a salesperson, right? This is, not by design. You would never call yourself that, but yet you've got this 7-step process now. So how's this working for you, who does not fancy yourself a professional salesperson? Are you surprised, delighted, or scared?
I'm laughing out loud. We've been friends, as you know, for like more than 10 years, and I just got this giant kick under the table because when we think about, one of the steps is know your beliefs. It is done unto you as you believe. And, Eric alluded to the fact that, we connected when he was, having great sales success. And I was challenged as a executive, as a sales professional, as an entrepreneur. I wasn't hitting the sales marks that I wanted to hit. And I got the gentle kick under the table that said, what is it that you're believing about your sales process? And I was saying just exactly what you said there, Phil. I'm not a salesperson. I don't want to be a salesperson. Salespeople are stinky. Salespeople are dirty. Salespeople need to go take a shower, like all these things. And, Eric challenged me back to say, if you're believing those things, look at the results you're getting. You're getting smelly results because you think salespeople are smelly. And so I had the opportunity to then dive into my beliefs and go look at, if I'm going to believe in my product, mindfulness, if I'm going to believe in my keynotes, my coaching, my memberships, I have to get out and share the value of those. And I recalibrated my own relationship with the sales process in order to write this book with Eric and sell more and stress less. That we have the opportunity to look at our own blocks. And in the book, every week, we give you a tip that relates to the 7 mindfulness steps, and a little story to inspire you, and a question to keep you going. And so when Eric was able to give me the 7 steps, that, that first step being meet and greet, and I go, oh, okay, well, how do I do that as a mindfulness person? Okay, I have to center and get my energy there. That those little tips showed me how I could weave the two together to be better for myself and better for my clients. And then again, this idea of intention setting. If I was going into it, oh, I hate sales, oh, I don't want to do this, that's what I was getting back. When I shifted my own heart set, my mindset to,
I love sales, yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm not sure I love sales, but I enjoy it as a way to share my good with the world. And all of us, again, whether you're selling coffee or you're selling investment products or dentistry, mindful living, mindful selling is about doing things you love in places you love with people that you love. And that's what we're committed to helping people do, no matter what industry they're in.
Yeah, something funny that when I explained this process to Holly and said there were only 7 steps, she's like, I can do that. And it really is a little epiphany, an awakening within both of us. And we saw this magic of mindfulness meeting sales, and we saw no one was really talking about it. And we took it and started talking to people about it. And we've actually traveled around the world already in this past year, from Hawaii to Orlando to South Africa, and started sharing these practices. And you would be amazed at the results that we're seeing with just a little bit of a nudge. And this isn't really a reset of all things sales and marketing, but within Holly's world, just the awareness of, okay, I can go to a process and I can believe that living these mindful practices throughout my company and my sales organization, we closed, and really it was mostly Holly, 3 contracts at the end of 2018 in a short amount of time with just the most basic mindful practices in play. And by her own admission, she would not have won those contracts without the sales process. I would not be here without the mindfulness practices, and that's where this whole blend came to be.
Awesome. Well, let's do one chapter from the book, Holly. Let's do 1 week there. Pick one from the affirmation and demonstration piece that you can speak to here, and let me set up the book here a little bit more for folks. So, folks, if you're thinking about getting a book and helping you sell more, stress less, 2020, this is your book. Sell More, Stress Less, 52 Tips to Become a More Mindful Sales Professional with Holly Duckworth and Eric Szymanski. Is a fantastic book. I bought the first copy and I bought another copy to share because I believe in this book. And I really think it's important. Think about who you are being when you're selling. Really important to do that. The book can be got at mindfulsalestraining.com. Get the 7 practices to be a mindful sales professional. And now we're going to share one little insight from the book read by one and only Holly Duckworth. So Holly, hit us.
Well, Phil, it's so fun to share the book. And honestly, when we wrote this, we were thinking of it as, I'm buying it for myself. And even in just this short time, the book went #1 in 3 categories the day it was released, which is National Salesperson's Day. And then now more teams are coming to us and they're buying it for their entire sales department as a weekly tool. Most sales teams, they meet once a week. Hey, how can we support each other? Where are you doing on your goals and all that? And so what's fun is this is a tip a week for 52 weeks. And there's some bonus ones in there too to get you through. And because we did talk about week #1, we talked about intention. I'm just gonna kind of flip through because mindfulness, it's the right one lands at the right time. And we'll just pick one to talk about. And the number that's coming up is 23. Week 23. It's a good midpoint in the year. Some of you might even be in the midpoint, depending on what your fiscal year looks like. But number 23, selling with all 5 of your senses is the most mindful gift you can give to yourself and your customers. And in each week, you get a story or a tip. Then you get what we call a thought-provoking question. Mindfulness is just about taking a minute to think about what you're doing. Who are you being when you're selling? And then an affirmation. So as you said, Phil, every single week you get an affirmation to set your mindset. And the affirmation for this example is, as a mindful sales professional, I use my hearing, smelling, tasting, seeing, and feeling to maximize every sales opportunity. And you go, wait a minute, Holly, sensing, tasting, feeling. I'm like selling car parts here. But taps into your intuition. And so your thought-provoking question is, what is the strongest of my senses? What is the weakest of my senses? How can I use my intuition as a sales advantage? How can I see my weakness as an opportunity for growth and my strength as an opportunity to stress less and sell more? And this speaks to that sales step of presenting your product. All of us have an opportunity to present the product. How have you gotten to know your customer, what they need, what they want, and use that information in the demonstration and qualification stages? Seeing that you engage your customer in their own five senses, telling you what they see, they feel, they sense, they know what they need, allows you to align your product and service in a better way. The purpose of engaging senses is to invoke that positive feeling or emotion in the sales process that moves your prospect towards a contract.
Ooh, good stuff. Wasn't sure where you're going there with that one. Five senses, really? We make smell? I don't know. Eric, didn't we say Jingle Bells, Batman smells, or was that another conversation we had? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, really, when you think about it, in a presentation step of professional selling, most people are looking at their visuals or their audio, or they're probably thinking maybe one or two dimensionally here. We want to engage as many as possible. Is it possible to get a positive smell into your sales process? Maybe, maybe not. But let's definitely engage those. In your room, in your environment, where you're selling, does it smell pleasant? This is something you can add into your sales experience. It's proven scientifically, different scents will engage your positive behavior, your mood. So it could be, something focused more on you than it is your customer. But, we're not joking with this. This information that we're providing isn't something that, I love your Batman smells reference from childhood, because it really does bring light to the issue. And let's not take ourselves so seriously that we can't put a joke or a laugh in. I can tell you, we take mindfulness extremely seriously. We take sales and sales results extremely seriously. So if you're in a sales division, if you're in a sales situation with yourself, when you're opening the book and you come to a chapter that you're really not sure what it means, we're encouraging you to reach out to us. We're encouraging you to go to our social community and just use the hashtag mindful sales. Let's start these conversations. Let's see how we can improve this process in a good way.
Awesome. I love that. I love that so much. All about slowing down, being present, and being more mindful. Really good stuff. So everyone, if you're listening to this and you're thinking, what the heck, how do I get started on this? I encourage you to go to mindfulsalestraining.com, go download the 7 practices to be a mindful sales professional, and connect with Holly and Eric. They'll be a big help to you. They'll help you sell more and stress less in 2020 or whenever you listen to this. Thanks so much for being here, folks. Thank you, Holly and Eric. So delighted to talk to you today. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you, Phil.
My pleasure.